So I wanted to share with you a conversation that I had with one of our agents here at Legacy Family Life. If you're struggling in a week to hit your sales goals, if you're struggling to not get the results that you're used to getting, if you are struggling to perform at a high level, I want to share with you the advice that I gave to this agent that you can use to make sure that you always hit your 8, your 10, your 12 policies. And ultimately, this is what I did when I wanted to sell 8 policies or more every single week. This is what I did to sell over $500,000 worth of final expense life insurance. If you do these 3 things, I promise you, you're going to make more sales and get back on track. Number 1, when it comes down to understanding why you are not performing well, is because you don't have data to understand what are you doing wrong. Okay, a lot of times we try to diagnose problems without understanding what the problem actually is. So the first piece of advice that I gave this agent is that you're not struggling at closing, you're not struggling at intro, you're not struggling at underwriting. Your problem comes from one area, and that's your intro to contact or presentation rate. So what I'm going to share with you first, that if you are struggling, you need to understand what are you struggling with. Okay, so what I did as a life insurance agent to make sure I always hit my 8, my 10 to 12 policies every single week that allowed me to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of final expense is that I always wanted to track my numbers. I tracked how many presentations did I have, how many dials did I do, how many contacts, how many people did I quote, how many people did I need to follow up with, how many people did I schedule. And it's the basics and the boring stuff that matters. And it's kind of interesting. This individual mentioned, well, I kind of stopped doing that because I got consistent. I kind of stopped doing that because I was getting my results that I expected every single week. But when the results no longer come, it's because you stopped doing the things that worked in the past. Okay, so the first area that I encourage if you're struggling is making sure that you are tracking your numbers so that you can diagnose where are your problems so that you can clearly understand what I need to fix. If it's an intro to presentation rate, then you don't have a good enough objection handling ability. If it's a presentation to close, your discovery off, your questions are asking, you're missing your conviction, you're not, delivering your message the right way, and you need to learn how to fix your sales problems by understanding the data. The second thing that I had to run through on this agent is that you need to just develop a hit list. I cannot stress to you the importance of why a hit list is so important. A hit list has saved me so many times. When the weeks got slow, when I needed to pick me up, when I was struggling, I just needed to make that one sale because that one sale allowed for a mindset shift. That one sale allowed me that feedback loop that I was looking for. That one sale allowed me to understand, hey, you're not tripping. You know how to do this, and give me the encouragement to win. I always got that one sale when I was struggling from my hit list. And what is a hit list? And how did I establish the hit list? The hit list was simple. Every time I quoted someone, every time I presented numbers, I wrote their name on a piece of paper. Miss Betty White. I put her name, her address, a little about her. I put how much I quoted her, 10,000 at Transamerica. And then I would circle the number that she picked. And then if she sold the policy, then I would go ahead and highlight her name in yellow and put the yellow stack to the side. If I didn't sell Miss Betty and I quoted her, I would put the reason why she didn't buy, and I'd have a stack of papers in pink or a different color in blue with their names highlighted, and that was my hit list. So when times got slow, when I needed a sale, I could go back 30 days, I could go back 20 days, I could go back, 2 months and talk to Miss Betty, who I knew she needed life insurance. She probably hasn't got it yet, and hopefully she's feeling better because she woke up on the right side of the bed, and I'd call her and I'd close her. And that's because the hit list was just getting people at the right time. Well, if you have this in a CRM where you can go back and look at all your data, your calls, and the time that you spoke to the individual, or you actually have a paper method, which I talk about and preach about, that has saved me multiple times. The hit list is something that you need to not sleep on. If you use your hit list and you build this book of people that are just right there on the finish line, and you can move them forward by calling them, following up, and actually doing a good job of remembering their situation and calling them again, people will buy. So not only do you have to get good at sales, but you got to get better at selling on the follow-up game. The follow-up game has saved me so many times when I had slow weeks, slow months, and ultimately allowed me to fix my sales constraints and ultimately allowed me to get across the finish lines. The first thing I talked about was tracking your numbers. Number 2, I talked about going and building that hit list. Number 3 was getting creative. Being creative in your ways of your approach. If you're calling people and not getting your contacts and not getting your results that you want, you got to change something. You would be delusional, you would be insane if you don't make changes. And the simple way that I would think about this is I would add different ways of contact. If you're doing outbound, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to add an extra dial. So instead of calling 2 people back to back, I'm going to add them back to back to back. So I'm going to add in an extra call, or I'm going to add in a call, and a personal text. Or I'm going to leave a call, and a voicemail. And then I'm going to go ahead and build a different sequence, because truthfully, a lot of times we get caught up in the monotony of just calling on to the next lead, calling on to the next lead. But what I wanted to always do is be the guy that was contacting them different than what other life insurance agents were doing. I'd call them, I'd text them, I send them a weird message. Hey, Miss Betty, I heard you moved. Are you doing okay? Or then I'd leave them a voicemail, and I'd leave them some type of drip message, and I'd send them some type of email. So if you're not getting results that you want, you need to have something to change. Number one, you got to track your data. You got to, number two, build your hit list to follow up. And you got to change your patterns and your rhythms of your sales process. Because again, in sales, you can get slow, you can get old, you can get bored, you can get kind of checked out. But if you're not doing the basics, you're not changing your game up a little bit, and you're not getting a little bit better or trying to be the best you can be and being mentally prepared. Because when you're getting beat up, you get worried. When you're not getting your feedbacks of the sales, you're kind of upset. And it all starts to go downhill, and you build this snowball effect of like, man, what's not working? The world's against me. Everything sucks. No, you've changed your behaviors. You're not pushing hard. You're not seeing the opportunities, and you're going back to lazy tendencies that are not getting results. So you have to change. You have to mentally be like, hey, I can do this. I've done this multiple times. Get out of this slump. Find one sale. All you need is one sale, because that's all my focus was. I don't need to have three sales a day. I just need one sale to unlock my day, unlock my week, and get my presentations. If I got my 5 presentations, then my one sale will come, and that's typically by changing up the way that I contact people, which allow me to get my results. So use this method. If you're in a slump and you want to start winning and you want to guarantee that you're getting consistent results, this is how you can win, and this is how you can crush. And this is on the top of my mind. Legacy Family Life, Peter Roberts, we're out. Like this video if you want more. Cheers.